Welcome to episode 1 of my new series on this channel, Stadium Stories, and this episode, we will be exploring the past, present and future of Old Trafford. Old Trafford, also known as the Theatre of Dreams, is the third biggest stadium in the UK and is one of the largest club-owned association football stadiums in the world. The stadium is home to the most successful club in the English Premier League and one of the biggest football clubs in the world, Manchester United. The stadium has hosted some of the biggest games in world football such as the World Cup, the Euros, 4 FA Cup finals and a Champions League final. Being one of the most historic stadiums not only in Europe, but in the world, what makes Old Trafford so special? In 1909, Newton Heath, now known as Manchester United, played their football games at North Road Ground and Bank Street Ground, Manchester. Due to the grounds being badly affected by poor weather, the poor location of Bank Street Ground being surrounded by factories which used to cover the ground in smoke, and new chairman John Henry Davies deciding that Bank Street Ground was not suitable for a team that have just won the English First Division and the FA Cup, funds were being donated for the construction of a new stadium. Davies settled on a patch of land next to the Bridgewater Canal just off the north end of Warwick Road in Old Trafford. The new stadium, designed by Scottish architect Archibald Leach, was originally supposed to have a capacity of 100,000, but it had to be reduced to 80,000 because the original cost was £60,000, but to reach the intended capacity would have cost an extra £30,000. The development of the new stadium was completed in late 1909 and hosted the inaugural game on the 19th of February, 1910 with Manchester United hosting Liverpool Football Club. The match ended in a 4-3 Liverpool victory. However, the stadium was seen as a huge success, with journalists calling the stadium the most spacious and the most remarkable arena they have ever seen. Before the construction of Wembley Stadium, Old Trafford had hosted 2 FA Cup finals. The first was the 1911 final replay between Bradford City and Newcastle United, which ended in a 1-0 Bradford victory watched by 58,000 people. The second one was the 1915 final between Sheffield United and Chelsea, which ended in a 3-0 Sheffield United victory in front of 50,000 people. The stadium hosted the largest pre-Second World War match in a 3-1 Manchester United defeat against Aston Villa in front of 70,504 spectators. The first international match was a 1-0 England defeat to Scotland in front of 49,429 people on the 17th of April, 1926. The highest match attendance at Old Trafford did not even include Manchester United. It was an FA Cup semi-final tie between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Grimsby Town on the 25th of March, 1939, watched by 76,962 spectators. Old Trafford was subject to multiple German bombing raids by Nazi Germany during World War II, which forced Manchester United to play their home games at local rivals Manchester City's Main Road from 1945 to 1949. Manchester United's first match back at Old Trafford was played on the 24th of August, 1949 in a 3-0 win against Bolton Wanderers in front of 41,748. The stadium hosted 3 group stage matches in the 1966 World Cup, which included games between Portugal vs Hungary, Portugal vs Bulgaria and Hungary vs Bulgaria. The stadium hosted the second leg of the 1968 Intercontinental Cup, where Estudiantes La Plata drew to Manchester United 1-1, but Estudiantes beat Manchester United 2-1 on aggregate. It also saw its third FA Cup final in 1970 between Chelsea and Leeds United, where Chelsea won 2-1 in front of 62,078 spectators. Due to the Hillsborough disaster on the 15th of April 1989, the English government demanded that all First and Second Division stadiums be converted to all-seaters. The cost to turn the stadium to an all-seater was £10 million and forced the stadium's capacity to drop to an all-time low of 44,000. 5 years later, Old Trafford's North Stand had to be renovated in time to host 3 group games, a quarter-final and a semi-final at Euro 96. The renovation of the North Stand would start in June 1995 and be completed by May 1996. The new North Stand cost £18.65 million and a capacity of 25,000, which boosted the capacity of the stadium to 55,000. After Euro 96, a second tier was added to the East and West Stand, which held a capacity of 7,000 each, which boosted the capacity of the stadium to 68,217. Old Trafford had become the biggest stadium in all of the UK, and during the construction of the new Wembley Stadium between 2001 and 2007, England had played their national team games around the country, 12 of which were played at Old Trafford. England drew with Greece in a historic match at Old Trafford on 6 October 2001, that ended 2-2, and David Beckham's last-minute free kick secured England's qualification to the 2002 World Cup. The stadium also hosted the 2003 UEFA Champions League final between AC Milan and Juventus, which ended in an AC Milan 3-2 win on penalties after the game ended 0-0 after 120 minutes. Old Trafford's capacity was expanded to 76,212 in 2006 with the introduction of 8,000 seats, with the addition of second tiers to both the northwest and northeast quadrants of the ground. Manchester United beat Blackburn Rovers 4-1 at Old Trafford in the Premier League in front of 76,098 spectators, which is the largest attendance at Old Trafford since 1939. In 2009, a reorganisation of the seating resulted in a reduction of the capacity to 75,957. Old Trafford hosted several matches during the 2012 Summer Olympics, including 5 group games, a quarter-final and a semi-final in the men's tournament, as well as 1 group game and a semi-final in the women's tournament. The women's game has grown as well at Old Trafford, as Manchester United's women's team played the first game at Old Trafford on the 27th of March, 2021 against West Ham. Old Trafford also hosted the opening match of the UEFA Women's Euro 2022 in a match between England and Austria, which had an attendance of 68,871, which is the second highest women's football attendance in the UK. Due to the lack of development to Old Trafford since 2006, the stadium was growing old and becoming run down. Due to this, many plans to redevelop the stadium and increase its capacity have been in the works. These plans started in 2009 when Manchester United wanted to redevelop the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, which still only has 1 tier, and a replication of the Sir Alex Ferguson stand development and northeast and northwest quadrants would see the stadium's capacity rise to an estimated 95,000, more than Wembley Stadium. In 2016, talk of the redevelopment of the Sir Bobby Charlton stand re-emerged. Plans to bring the Sir Bobby Charlton stand to the same level as the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, but without a third level, and increasing capacity to around 80,000. Replication of the corner stands on the other side of the stadium would further increase its capacity to 88,000. In 2018, plans went on hold due to logistical issues, as the work needed would mean that the redevelopment would happen throughout the season. This means that if the redevelopment were to happen, Manchester United would have to play their home games somewhere else, and the only grounds in or around Manchester with any comparable size are Manchester City's Etihad Stadium and Liverpool's Anfield, who are both historical rivals. As for future matches and tournaments, Old Trafford will be used to host the UEFA Euro 2028 in the UK and Ireland. The stadium will most probably host group stage games, a round of 16, a quarter-final and a semi-final, but game scheduling is still unknown. In conclusion, Old Trafford has become one of the most infamous stadiums in the world because of its vast history stretching back into the 1910s. The stadium has seen many great players and managers throughout the years, experiencing some of the best football anyone can watch. Nicknamed the Theatre of Dreams by Sir Bobby Charlton, the stadium established Manchester United as a giant in English football. The stadium has played host to World Cup matches, Euros matches, 4 FA Cup finals, the Olympic Games and the UEFA Champions League final. The 113-year-old stadium is one of the oldest stadiums in the world that are still used today. Thanks for watching. Comment down below what stadium I should do next for this series. Don't forget to like and subscribe.